mind of Americans who understand that we have enemies in the world, and we've got to figure out a way to combat those enemies.
Roy Blunt is the majority whip in the House of Representatives. Sorry for the interruption, but that's what we do here in the Situation Room.
I actually saw some of the family testimony the other morning early. They were repeating the testimony, and obviously in that kind of situation, no matter what the justice system does, it can't replace what those families have lost. It's a sad thing.
A heart-wrenching situation. I want to congratulate you and your wife Abby. You just adopted a little child from Russia. Congratulations.
He's a great little guy.
How does it feel to have a little
well, I haven't had a little guy around for a long time, but he is a lot of fun, and his life's changed and ours has too.
A new politician in the family, maybe?
Maybe so.
All right. Thanks very much, Roy Blunt. Good to have you in the Situation Room. Still ahead, the convicted lobbyist Jack Abramoff. How many times did he actually visit the Bush White House? The Secret Service has just released documents. We're going to tell you what's in them. And the battle for the Senate. The latest polls may be giving Democrats high hopes. We're going to take a closer look at what they have to do to win and how hard that may be. Stay with us. You're in the Situation Room.
Good morning, Mr. Long.
Close, but no CEO. CTS and the 400 horsepower CTS-V. Cadillac. Breakthrough.
You gotta admit, this is the life. Plenty of elbow room, no neighbors on top of you.
Yep.
In fact, the other morning, I walked out to get the mail in my underpants.
That's a little too much information, Alan.
It's time to make tall grass short. Dig in at Tractor Supply.
GuyTech.com definitely is the way to go. The people take great pride in making sure you're well taken care of, and they saved me over $500 a month.
Log on or call 1-800-71-FIXED.
By the West Wing, Season 6, now on DVD. A president fights to preserve his legacy while two men face off.
I am running for president.
To create history.
You're running? Starting tomorrow. Let's go win this thing.
By the West Wing, the complete 6th season, now on DVD.
You okay? I'm working like a dog. I run down to the print department, scan color documents, make color prints, run back, get approvals, run up to 5 and have to fax stuff all over the place. But I think I'm getting noticed. Is it rough by you too?
Not that rough.
What do you mean?
There's a color multifunction machine on my floor. I scan, copy, print, and fax and color from there. There's nothing to it.
Don't do this to me.
Xerox Color. It makes business sense.
Come on, come on. What can you expect from a world-leading bank? That we provide the brain and brawn to help you succeed. Expect the better solution. Deutsche Bank, a passion to perform.
Kids are just better with technology than their parents. Like, by the time I graduate from college, we'll be building clean coal power plants that are pollution-free, and that includes greenhouse gases. Go here, they'll explain it.
Welcome back to the Situation Room. I'm Wolf Blitzer in Washington. There are new developments right now in the Jack Abramoff lobbying scandal. Just a short while ago, the Secret Service released logs of Abramoff's visits to the White House. Questions have been raised about the extent of the convicted lobbyist's contacts with the president and top officials in his administration. Our chief national correspondent, John King, has been going through the documents. What have we learned, John?
Not much to go through, Wolf. This will not end the questions, but the Secret Service releasing just a short time ago, as you mentioned, these logs that show 2 visits by the convicted lobbyist Jack Abramoff. 2 visits. One of the visits to the White House was on March 6, 2001. He was there for about 50 minutes in the late afternoon. We know from checking the records at this time the President of the United States was in Chicago. So Jack Abramoff was at the White House. We don't know who he was meeting with, but we do know it was not the President of the United States.
It doesn't say who signed off to allow him.
It doesn't say, and that's one of the lingering questions. The group that filed suit to get these records says the White House should give us that information. I just called the White House. They said simply the documents are all we're getting today. They won't tell us who he was there meeting with. They won't even tell us if they've gone back to check to see see if they know who he was with. The other document saying that Jack Abramoff was there, again, this is a very brief visit, about 20 minutes, a little more than that, maybe 40 minutes, on January 20th, 2004. More recent, this was the day of the President's State of the Union. The President generally has no public events that day. As you know, he has lunch with anchors and some other political correspondents on the State of the Union Day. Why was he there? Again, the White House won't tell us. It is routine on State of the Union Day that they have briefings for conservatives, other constituent groups. Could have been something like that, but the White House won't tell us. So this won't end the questions. We also know these two times aren't the only times he was at the White House, because Time magazine published not that long ago a photo of Jack Abramoff at the White House, the building next to the White House, the Eisenhower Executive Office building. That was May 9th, 2001. He was there with one of his clients, the chief of an Indian tribe. So it immediately raises the question. You know he was there at least a third time. How many more times could there have been? The White House says, though, that these are the only electronic records that show he was there. And again, the group that sued for them is a conservative group, Judicial Watch. It says the White House now must go back to the records. Why was he there? Who did he meet with? Judicial Watch says the public deserves to know that information. But again, we just put that question to the White House. They say they won't give us an answer.
I thought he was also there for some social occasions, a Hanukkah party, lighting of the menorah, some Christmas parties. None of that shows up in these documents.
None of it shows up in these documents. The Secret Service is the agency that has to explain all this. We're trying to get a better official response from them, but in quick conversations with people there, they say that you don't always end up in the electronic records. It can depend on who clears you in, what type of event you were cleared in for, whether you came in as an individual or with a group, whether you came in with a group that had already been cleared for security at some other location. There are a whole number of different ways this can happen, but essentially the answers we're getting is these are the two times he's in the records. Could he have been there more? Yes. We know he was there more? Yes. But the White House won't even tell us if they have gone back through all of their records, people's own personal meeting logs, to see if they have those records. They won't even tell us that, which is why the questions from the conservative group Judicial Watch and certainly from the Democrats won't stop with the release of this.
Just to remind our viewers, he's pleaded guilty already. He's cooperating with the prosecution, and his sentence, how many years he's going to spend in jail, is going to be dependent on how much he cooperates. At least that's the threat that's hanging over him.
And we should be clear, nothing that he has been in court on has anything to do with the Bush White House, and which is one of the reasons the Bush White House says, why are you asking us all these questions? There's no allegation of any wrongdoing by anyone inside the gates of the White House. At the same time, as you noted, he's a convicted felon. He was at the White House. People ask, when was he there? Why was he there? Who was he with? The White House says it won't tell us.
All right, John, thanks very much. I know you're going to keep on digging. A lot of reporters are going to keep on digging on this story. The conservative watchdog group Judicial Watch has posted the White House logs online. Let's bring in our internet reporter, Jackie Schechter. She's standing by. Jackie, what are you seeing?
Well, this is why we got our hands on these, because the Judicial Watch filed a request under the Freedom of Information Act, and they said as soon as they got them, they would put them online immediately. They've done that. You can take a look at them for yourself, the dates and the times that Jack Abramoff was at the White House. John gave you all of that information. They are also now going online, Judicial Watch is, with a statement saying they believe that the logs are incomplete. And the reason they say they're incomplete is because they filed for requests during the Clinton administration, and they say those documents had additional information. Who was the person going to see? Who requested the visit? What room were they going to? This is information that is not on the current documents. Now, as for the Department of Justice, which delivered this information to Judicial Watch, their cover letter on the information says no exemptions have been made, that nothing has been withheld. If you want to read these for yourself, go to cnn.com/situation report. Wolf, we've posted them there.
Jackie, thank you very much. Up next, the battle for Congress. There's a lot of talk about the Democrats recapturing the House, but what about the Senate? Our Jeff Greenfield breaks down the numbers. Plus, Republicans get ready to push a tax cut bill through Congress. Is this a smart political strategy? I'll ask Donna Brazil and Babe Buchanan. They're standing by in today's strategy session.
Before it became my home, it was my hope.
Before it became my pride, it was my passion.
Before it became my acquisition, it was my ambition.
Before it became our everyday, it was our someday.
Before anything becomes a reality, it begins as someone's possibility. At Wachovia, We're absolutely obsessed with turning possibilities into realities.
I'm with Wachovia.
I'm with Wachovia.
Yo estoy con Wachovia.
I'm with Wachovia.
I'm with Wachovia.
I'm with Wachovia.
Are we going to that bed